Hi, everyone. Welcome to our April 2023 market update. I'm Brittany White from England Vokers, Vancouver, and this is Galia, part of our team at Glenn and Brittany Real Estate. You're having the real women of the Glenn and Brittany Real Estate market update today. So we just wanted to update you in what's been happening in the past month, because there's a lot of moving parts. Buyers are definitely coming back with a lot of confidence. It's definitely a 360 turn from what we saw at the end of last year to the beginning of this year. Hey, Gal.
Definitely. It's a huge change, and we're seeing it across all boards of the market.
Yeah, it's actually it's interesting to see, just because we've been through, I've been in the real estate market for about 16 years now, and we've seen so many changing markets. And we definitely feel when a big piece of news comes out, like, interest rates going up, is that buyers need some time to transition into understanding what that's going to mean with their affordability and so forth. And there's been lots of changes over these past 16 years, but we're definitely starting to see that everyone's becoming, a little bit more accustomed to the new normal. There's lots of reports out there. There's lots of things happening in the world right now, but buyers are definitely feeling like they want to get back in the game. So what we're seeing right now is that across Greater Vancouver, obviously sub areas are going to be different in your neighborhood, and it's going to not be the same as a blanket across. But Greater Vancouver the Real Estate of Greater Vancouver put out that we are about 21% below the 10-year average for inventory right now, which is quite large, and which is really creating a lot more sales and a lot more multiple offers that we're seeing because of the lack of inventory. And we're actually down 4.2% from last year, April inventory. So that's, and we're already at a low at that point. So we're even lower than we were. So sellers out there, if you're ready to sell, get your house on the market, because there's definitely an opportunity right now. So what we're seeing is that there's still, house prices are still down from last year. We're still down around 8.8% from last year. Apartments are only down 3% from last year. And from what we're seeing with the stats, we'll go in a little bit later on, is that, those are going to creep up quite fast. So we're only down 3% from last year. Again, not every area is going to be the same, but that's just across the board, and about 6% for townhouses. So let's maybe jump into the stats and look at a couple of these sub areas and what they're doing. So Gal, why don't you kick it off?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been working with a lot of buyers and our team, a lot of sellers as well, in west side of Vancouver and also East Vancouver. And across the board, as Brittany mentioned, we are seeing the market move into a much more seller market dominated space. Of course, with that, it does fluctuate per area, per geographical area, and then also per property type. So why don't we start with the west side of Vancouver? So in the west side of Vancouver, for attached houses, for attached condos, we are seeing a much more sellers dominated market. Inventory is up in that area about 7%. And really where we're seeing it most affected is the properties around the $500,000 to $600,000 mark. They're seeing the most traction with about 100% sales ratio. So that means if you are a buyer in the 500, 600, even 700 entry level property mark, you are going to be seeing a lot of competition when entering the market. Now, if we take a look at the west side Vancouver detached housing, we are at a balanced market, but we're at the very upper end of that, almost turning into a seller's market. Now, this is very different to what we were seeing at the beginning of the year in January or November, December of last year, where we were seeing quite a strong buyer's market in these areas. Buyers had a lot of options. They could take their time. Now we are seeing that start to pick up in the detached, more luxury homes. And the most active price band within this area has been about 2 to 3 million. And with that, we are seeing a 77% sales ratio. So it is starting to become very competitive in those areas as well. Now, yeah, for sure. So now when we move into East Vancouver and we look at the attached houses there, I think this is where we're really seeing one of the strongest sellers markets. It is at a 33% sales ratio, and inventory in these areas are also up by 10%. Now, the reason for that, I believe, is sellers are starting to get a glimpse of the market increasing, and we're starting to see this desire to put your home on the market. with the competition and the increasing of prices, it's looking a little bit more favorable to sellers. Now, with that as well, we are seeing the entry level properties in East Van as well, having the most active activity in terms of buyers and competition. And for properties in these areas and of this size, we are seeing them selling at about 2% above asking price. So that goes to show there is a lot of competition and multiple offer scenarios increasing those prices. Now, when we look at the east side of Vancouver, and we look at detached houses, we're also looking at a seller's market here, a little bit less strong than when we're looking at the detached entry levels. But at the same time, we're still seeing these homes sell about 3% above asking price. Now, for these areas, the most active price band we're looking at is about $1.5 to $2 million. So that's right at the entry point for a detached single family home in East Vancouver. In these areas, however, we're still seeing low inventory. So that can explain a little bit more about the rising prices, because there's a lot more demand than there is inventory in these areas. And then Brittany will share some more information about some other areas that we've been working particularly in, such as Ocean Park and also North Vancouver.
Yeah, so just if you're just coming onto this and you don't know what the sales ratio is, anything above 20% is a seller's market. So and below is a balanced market, and then below, I believe it's the 8%, is actually a buyer's market. So just to give you a little bit of insight, when we're talking about that, we're not seeing any real buyer's markets right now unless you're in certain price ranges, but we're definitely seeing the lack of inventory spread across the board for all these areas. So entry levels is very, very hot in every sector: townhouses, apartments, and detached housing. So South Surrey, White Rock, we're seeing sort of the same thing, is that we're about, we're in a lower seller's market, but it's definitely trending upwards. Anything 2.5 million and below is definitely a higher seller's market. Again, into the luxury sector, you're getting a little bit less, and that just goes across the board for most areas in Greater Vancouver. North Vancouver, though, I should go back to South Surrey attached housing, which is a clear winner on this one too, which is 55%. That is almost every 1 in 2 houses or attached homes selling right now.
Huge jump, right, from earlier this year.
Massive jump. So lack of inventory once again, but again, very active price bands. That might have to do a little bit with the rentals being, not restricted anymore. And taking away 19 plus, which a lot of buildings in White Rock have. So we're definitely seeing a lot more investors coming into the marketplace, and a lot of first-time home buyers as well too. And I'm definitely seeing the activity rise in there, which is telling based on the stats. But North Vancouver was always a big topic of conversation last year. It had the highest sales ratio. At one point, it was above 65% sales ratio last year. Real lack of inventory, tons of buyers coming into the marketplace. Again, it is becoming a clear winner at 44% for detached homes. I'm starting to see the levels starting to come exactly where it was this time last year for the benchmark home prices. We're getting very close. There's lots of buyers, and the activity is happening very quickly in North Vancouver. Things are changing fast. So again, North Vancouver, if you are a buyer, it might be a great time to step into the marketplace now, because I believe in 1 month's time, I think we're going to be having a different conversation. So maybe let's chat about a little bit more about what's happening as a buyer in this marketplace, and then what a seller is like in this marketplace. So why don't you, Galia, just talk a little bit more? You've been working with tons of buyers in the past few months, and just kind of give us a lay of the land out there.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been working with a lot of buyers, particularly first-time buyers and investors. And the areas we've been focused in has been west side of Vancouver and East Van as well, particularly Kitsilano, Fairview, False Creek, and Mount Pleasant. So these are always, of course, very desirable areas and have a lot more competition than some of the other areas in Greater Vancouver. Now, in this particular market, we are seeing a lot more activity around that $500,000 to $700,000 mark. So with the buyers I've been working with, we've been seeing a lot of competition, a lot of multiple offer scenarios. So the important thing to remember here is when you find a place that you eventually like and you do want to write an offer, is really being prepared. And that's when it's going to set you apart from a lot of other buyers in the marketplace. So with that, we want to make sure if you are going to write an offer, it's really about doing all that due diligence beforehand, getting all your ducks in a row. So then when you go to write the offer, you have as clean of an offer as you possibly can. This way you'll be set up to have a really good position in your multiple offers. So that's one thing we definitely recommend. And obviously, when you're working with a realtor, you'll be able to understand what that is that you need to accomplish prior to writing that offer. And then I also would like to note that in this, category of that $500,000 to $700,000 mark, when a property that is really good with few objections comes onto the market, it's very rare at this point that we're not actually seeing multiple offers. I had a client write a few weeks ago on a property in Mount Pleasant, and we were actually against 15 other offers. I saw a property go this week in False Creek, and it got 20 offers. So that's not to say all properties are getting that. In those cases, perhaps the properties were priced too low to draw in that many buyers. But at the same time, it's good to note when you're a buyer right now, especially in that price range in those neighborhoods, to be prepared. Preparation is everything in order to secure the property that you're really looking for. And
yeah, that's great tips.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to pass it back to Brittany, as she's worked with a lot of sellers lately, particularly in White Rock, and has had some great success and some great sales as of recent.
Yeah, thanks, Gal. Yeah, those are all good tips. Glenn and I did a webinar on multiple offers, just a little refresh for everyone, because we started seeing a lot more happening over, I guess from January on. So we're going to link that as well so that people can tap on that if you have any more questions about how to be prepared. But yeah, from the listing side, so it's still really important. Of course, yeah, if you're in a seller's market for the properties that we have listed, we still want to make sure that they're presented correctly. So with one listing in particular, we got a bunch of little repairs done. We got it staged, and the staging looked so good. I can't emphasize more of how great staging is. Yes, it is an investment at the beginning, but it makes a world of difference. And we probably made our client another 15, 20 grand from the staging because it presented itself so well. So lots of little things to do before you put your house on the market. Yeah, there's going to be some price ranges where people just throwing it up and, they're getting tons of offers right away because it is in that, category of the crazy multiple offers. But at the same time, I still feel like you could leave money on the table, even if you are in that category. So just make sure that you present your home properly to market, get all the marketing done and do it right. We've had lots of success for our clients over the past month, and yeah, it's been a fun market out there again. So lots of buyers coming to the table and lots of showings and getting to do what we love to do, and that's selling houses and negotiate. So just a little note, just ending on the seller's market, is that everyone just make sure that you keep in touch with your mortgage broker or mortgage specialist in regards to interest rates. Things are happening quite quickly right now. We have a lot of things happening in the world, and fixed rates are changing. The Bank of Canada is still coming out saying we are still wanting to get this inflation down to 2%. It's going to be a slow and steady race, and that they will do what they need to do to keep inflation going down. So just make sure that you stay in touch with your mortgage provider so that you can lock in when you need to. And, obviously things are changing fast every single day. So that is all from us. So thanks everyone for tuning in. And of course, if you have any more questions in regards to the areas that you live in specifically, please reach out. We have lots of stats. Obviously, we're not going to say them all here because you'll be here for an hour. So thanks everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks everyone. Bye.